Percy is learning how to be a medical alert dog and a mobility dog. He started his training with Disabled Advantage when he was 3 months old, and once he passed Puppy Paw Camp, he started my Service Dog Foundation course, which will show you some of the clips that he's learning for that course in this video. Working with Percy has been interesting and challenging at times for both myself and his owner. As you can see, he is a very exuberant dog and loves learning and loves training, but also has plenty of times where he wants to do things his way and his time, and that's just not how it works with training. So a lot of my training for my Service Dog Foundation course is more detailed and slower than other trainers might move at that pace because I'm trying to build really, really well-behaved service dogs for people living in pain caused by a condition that, you know, everything triggers pain for someone who lives with CRPS. And so we're trying to train dogs to be exceedingly gentle and know all of the foundation commands for being a service dog, but also, learning how to work with their handlers gently and how to listen to them and things like that. But I wanted to show this longer video to show that training isn't always fancy or flashy. You get to see a lot of the messy middle in this video of Percy learning the basics, having a tantrum, and then getting better at it and starting to show progress and starting to succeed. It's been great watching them work together. Here they're working on teaching heel. I believe in teaching heel first inside before you take it outside so that you give the dog a chance to learn the hard thing inside first before you add a bunch of distractions of being outside. A lot of the training that goes into my Service Dog Foundation course is about building up the dog's basic skills, so things like sit and down and heel, place and recalls and leave it, but then also building up their impulse control for basic things, the ability to be bored and the figuring out how to do a command where we ask you to do a command, which is the tantrum you saw just now, as opposed to going off and doing a command wherever you want to do a command. It doesn't sound important, but it becomes exceedingly important for service dog life when we're working in public and there's tight quarters, and also for working with someone for whom any amount of pain can be triggered if the dog, or every time the dog makes a mistake, our pain goes up. And a lot of the training, also a lot of the time that goes into this course is about giving the owners time to learn how to become owner trainers. This is not a course for people who want the answers handed to them. This is not a course for people who want somebody else to do the work for them. This is a course where you're going to be learning how to be your dog's trainer. You're not necessarily going to be learning how to be every dog's trainer, but you are going to be learning how to be your dog's trainer. And that's seen here in the work with Percy and his owner. She had to learn over time, and especially it was hard because, as puppies mature and as puppies grow up, they grow into new personalities. And so the dog that you have at 3 months old is not necessarily the same dog you have at 1 year old. You can learn their personality and learn, you can anticipate what challenges they're going to bring to the table, but you're also constantly adapting to that individual dog as you go through training together. And so you learn quirks about your dog, what works, what doesn't work. There's only so much that I can teach you. And so it is a bit of a collaborative effort of, I teach this is the exercise, this is the goal we're going for. Give me your take on your dog and let's figure out a way to make this work for your team and for your individual disability. And as you saw at the beginning of this video, Percy was galloping around the yard. He wasn't great at following her, and now he's moving really, really nicely with her in the store. She is using treats at this point in his training. He was still pretty young, and so we were using treats occasionally, but treats got phased out of his training as quickly as possible, simply because I don't really want dogs hyper-focused looking for the next treat. It can be an additional hand flare for people with CRPS in their hands, and so it's hard for myself to teach with treats, and then for that reason. And it's also just, one of the things I'm trying to teach in mobility dogs, particularly who are going to be doing bracing and counterbalance, is to look ahead. And dogs who are looking for treats tend to look up at their person, and that actually throws the dog off balance, which isn't great for assisting us. So here, Percy is working on his handler focus and ability to ignore distractions and ability to just move with her on leash in a store. He's doing a fantastic job, and it's a long way from the sassy puppy tantrum that we had at the very beginning. Now, Percy still throws his fair share of tantrums. This is only a representation of what he and his owner learned in section 1 of my course. Because my course is so in-depth and detailed, my foundation course is broken into 2 sections. The first section focuses on 3 commands and a bunch of skills, and the second section focuses on 3 more commands and a bunch of skills, and has the option of overlaying the retrieve course at the same time. In this exercise, Percy's owner is working with him on impulse control, duration, and distance. His ability to hold a command, the sit in this case, while she walks around him, past him, behind him, things like that, and at a distance. All of that was very, very difficult for Percy in the beginning. He's very amped up by movement, so working with him took a lot more patience to get his impulse control taught. And occasionally we'd have weird random setbacks, which happens when you train animals. We had a random setback with his crate where he just didn't want to go in his crate one day, and we worked through it together using a few different tactics because it's really easy to come up with a method that you like, but one thing that I've found when I'm working with my clients who have similar disabilities to my own, but also have different capabilities and different abilities, and different limitations, is that I need to be able to give them several different tactics for handling a problem. And they're all tactics that solve the problem. And they're all tactics that offer correction and consequence so that the dog understands what they're doing is incorrect and gives the dog guidance on how to fix the problem. But the reason I need to give them alternative solutions is because one day, one tactic might be perfect, but the next day, depending on what their condition is doing, that tactic may suddenly be horrible or completely impossible. And so it's up to me to come up with these solutions that fit their needs. And that we did that a lot with Percy, as you saw with the crate. Here we're working on out of sight training. Out of sight training is really important for service dogs because occasionally their owners are going to pop around the corner to, get something out of a different room, or they might need to go into another room to get an x-ray or something to that effect. And the dog needs to be confident and capable of being left alone, staying in the command they were left in, and not getting worked up that their owner left them. We do that in very short bursts and work up the duration until the dog's able to be left out of sight for longer amounts of time. But it is something that also adds to the amount of time that the course itself takes because some dogs move faster than others. Percy's been really hard to teach out of sight training too because, again, every time he sees something that moves, he's after it. He also is very attached to his owner. He has great handler awareness. He really wants to move with her and stay with her. So when she goes out of sight, it was hard to teach him, no, you stay here, we're going to leave. And here he's working on her being away, being 15 feet away, and also sitting on a hill with neighborhood distractions while wearing a cooling vest. He likes to lick the water off his cooling vest, so that's what he was doing earlier. And demonstrating really great leash skills here. Here we're fixing a sloppy sit. It may not be a big deal for some trainers, but for service dog work, we need to make sure Percy's always maintaining really good posture so that he develops his muscles properly and doesn't get into bad habits that might impact his durability or his health later on. This is another out of sight exercise. We try to do out of sight with as many stationary commands as possible so that the dog is fluent in out of sight work, no matter what command they need to be left in. While I don't personally recommend it, there are teams who leave their service dog, ask their service dog to stand outside of a bathroom stall in public while they go to the bathroom if there's not room for the dog in the stall. And so that would be another example of an out of sight exercise. We also build up over time based on the dog's age and maturity and ability to handle more difficult skills. We build up things like dropped leash work, off leash work, spatial pressure, which is being demonstrated here. We teach the dog how to move out of our space to give us a greater space bubble and prevent accidental flares, but we also teach them to ignore spatial pressure in an effort to prepare them for public access and working in crowds. We focus on not just heeling in a straight line, but learning how to heel when the owner changes their speed, which frequently happens when someone is in pain. They might move faster to get something over with quicker, or they might move really, really slow. And so we go ahead and teach the dog that skill now as part of their foundation training, as opposed to waiting and including that in task training. I also spend time making sure that the dogs will take commands from their owners in any positions, and we try and focus on the positions that that particular owner is in most often, and also positions that are weird for that person, so that the dog, we can eventually build that into the dog learning. This is a weird position. I need to get you off the ground right now. Here, Percy is learning the horrible exercise where he has to hold a sit or a down while we throw a toy past him. This exercise takes incredible impulse control, and you can see he gets a consequence from the leash each time he runs into the end of it. But the more he works on it, the more he gets better at it. There, he looked at it, he thought about it, but he didn't go after it. This is just another way to build up a service dog's impulse control. And also, I have been in stores where people are playing fetch with their dogs in the middle of Lowe's. So it's a thing that we need to prepare for. Part of training with me includes submitting videos from homework. So this is a video of my client working on heel with Percy. He's a little under a year old in this video, and he has come an incredible way in this video from before, when we had to use a barrier to teach him heel and he couldn't stay with her, to this point. Is heel done? No. Is his training done? No. We're still working on section 2 right now, but he's come a tremendous way from the floofy, over-exuberant puppy. He's a lot more focused. He's already started learning a few tasks, and the dedication that his owner has put into his training is absolutely phenomenal. And it's the level of dedication that I look for in clients who are ready to figure out how to learn how to work with their condition and figure out how to train a dog while living with this condition. So big round of applause to this service dog team passing section 1 and working hard on section 2. I look forward to being able to show you guys section 2 once we've completed that.